But. It is time for our next pumpkin. Ah! Ninja Black Cat made pumpkin Zombiedear. Vinay just hasn't done anything for Pillowdear in the community, so I pulled out all the stops. There's a bitter for... Wait, was it? There's a bitter for beetroot, and watch out. Oh, this is amazing! Is this zombie pillow? Last year my costume was zombie pillow. Oh, this is amazing! I really love, I don't even know how you did it. The way that, like, there's this separate part for the skin, and then you have, like, the wings as these horns. What is this? Oh, and I'm throwing up? Or am I eating it? Wait, I think I'm eating it. Well, Mr. Chicken, thank you for the gifted. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you. But I think oh, these are bones. Wait, these are bones. It's even cooler. You wrapped like bones in wire? This is so creative. And I love the extra detail for the eyes, where instead of fully making a heart, they're like almost like stitches. Oh, can I zoom in? Oh. And then are these actually stitched in? Wait, I have to know. How did you do this? This is so impressive. Did you, like, skin it? And then it looks like you actually stitched in the red. I was thinking it was just glued on, but you actually did stitching for it. Oh, this is amazing! I still can't get over the fact that you use real bones for the antlers. That is so wild. And I had chicken wings for dinner. Wait, they're chicken wings? No, don't use chicken wings, because more people are gonna think my wings taste like chicken. The wings on my head are not for eating. Do you hear this? The wings on my head are not for eating. Absolutely not. And they do not taste like chicken. This is false representation. False. But this is so cool. This pumpkin is amazing. And I like that you did pinkish lights for it too. Like pinkish red lights. Ah. This is like... I forgot. I'm not saying favorites, but this pumpkin is so cool. I love it so much. You went through so much effort. Truly, such an amazing pumpkin. Thank you so much, Ninja Black Cat, for submitting your pumpkin. It is so cool. I'm very impressed by your work.
Hello everyone. So there were questions around how I made my pumpkin carving. So I've made a mini slideshow to try and go through the whole process for how I did this. Okay, so contest was announced like a week or a little bit longer before the competition. So pumpkin carving. Cool, great. We gotta carve a pumpkin. So I needed a theme, and of course this is for Pillowdear, the pillow cord community, and lots of different spooky things, but I figured keep it on theme. We've got previous year's costume for Zombiedear, or the one that was currently being done, Vampiredear. But at the end of the day, I had to carve this out of a pumpkin. So in New Zealand, here's the general sort of pumpkins that we have, but your typical orange pumpkin, not really something you can buy from supermarkets, but you can get this more sort of grey pumpkin. So this sort of solidified my idea for doing Zombiedear as my main pumpkin design. So there's a quick screen grab that I got from during her last year's stream. And it's okay, we've got to like focus on the main sort of design details here. We've got this like clear 2 different skin tones, which major feature. Also, we have the eyes with the typical model having the heart shape. Even though it's not in the Zombiedear model, I still wanted to put that across. And obviously, everyone loves the wings, key design feature. Also the hat as well, but that felt a little beyond scope and not at the moment, basically, with a week. So I kind of went through, I was like, okay, just like sketch down ideas for how I would achieve this sort of skin tone. Because kind of just jumping back to the pumpkins here, like can't really achieve that with the orange pumpkin anyway, and also you have to buy that by seed, and there was no way I'm gonna grow a pumpkin in a week. Not a magician here. Again, much easier with the 2 skin tone color. And also just the idea with zombies wanting brains, which I'll get to a little later. And then I was like, okay, if I'm gonna carve these eyes out, doing this first one I did here on the left, you lose that sort of main heart shape, which is why I went with this, what was described as more of a stitch design, which wasn't intentional. It was just to mainly capture the more rounder heart shape and keeping it a little concave of the 2 parts here on the interior, and just keeping that as a nice sharp point. And then, oh yeah, during the wings, I was like, if I'm gonna do a material here, it's spooky Halloween. Could get bones, but I was like, can't really buy bones, but I can buy stuff that has bones in it. And I generally meal prep my stuff, and I was like, okay, cheapest thing is chicken. So I was like, I could get like chicken drumsticks or something, or nibbles, but they were actual like chicken wings that had like I'm gonna say arm and forearm for lack of a better description. I was like, that'll have some good variety for when I figure out the full details later. And also jumping a little bit to the lighting, I was thinking of just, because I don't want to buy an actual physical candle to light, even though it's more typical, I was like, to kind of get back a little bit to the main, like original color, but also get a little bit more creative with it. I was like, I could just use instead of a phone or just a white light source, and then use cellophane, and I could put that in different sections of the pumpkin to have different parts be different colors, which if I wanted to do something with like heterochromia, I think that's the term, then yeah, I could do that in the future if I wanted. Also, there's an idea for if anyone wanted that, but just if I was also thinking could use cardboard and kind of put one section at like, put all the lights in the bottom of the pumpkin, put cardboard in to then isolate the eyes from the mouth, and then you could put another set of lights in, have those be different colors as well. Still hadn't fully worked out all the finer details, but that's fine. This was just the planning phase. So just getting a draft, I used GIMP, and you've got the carving tool. So I just kind of went over the eyes and roughly followed my draft eye carving shape. And for the mouth, I was like, I didn't want to keep it too much with having fangs, because I felt that would be more of the vampire deer one, but I went with like it's two big front teeth, and then you've got your more sharper teeth. You can really do whatever you want, but that's what I decided. And also the really nice thing with GIMP is that there's a default template, and it gives you the image size and height for, following the template, and you can then adjust it depending on your printer and stuff, which makes it really easy to work with. And it does say like how many pixels, but you can also change the units in the program to then go back to millimeters as well. So what I did is I got a phone that I knew the dimensions of, and then took a picture with the phone, like basically at the same level. Then used the dimensions of the phone to work out the dimensions of the pumpkin. And then I was like, okay, I can't have things be too far on this side, or top and bottom, because otherwise it's gonna not look right when I take the final picture. So I just restricted my workspace to what I felt was just a reasonable size. And then in GIMP, I worked out the sort of scale of like how this was in like the program versus the actual real height, and then I scaled it so that way I could then translate the eyes and mouth back on, and then I fixed up the eyes a little bit to be a bit more consistent, and then I decided to also open up the mouth a lot more for the idea that I had with the beetroot. Yeah, so then printing it off, I added in the scar, or well, not scar, but the differentiation between the two different skin tones for reference, and then I just got it to print. Took a couple tries because you have to be careful of your printer will print with margins, but the printer that I was using did have a setting to have it basically print it directly, and I think if it was outside of the margins then it wouldn't be printed, but it kept the whole scale, which was great. But if it didn't, you could probably just work out the difference and then scale all of that by the percentage difference that you're off from actually physically measuring it to then get it properly scaled. So when you make your template, if you've ever put any flat thing like paper or foil and tried to wrap it around a ball, you'll know that it ends up with a lot of crinkles and stuff. So you're going to be cutting out a lot of material to just get it to fit on nicely and avoid those like wrinkled marks. And also when cutting out the holes and stuff, you could, if you wanted, either cut on the outside or on the inside depending on the shape, but I just found it easier just to have it be hollow for pretty much all the cavities that I would eventually be chiseling out later. So yeah, you will see that like there's a lot of little bits and pieces there that are like, because I'm using scissors, not great, but it still works. And if you wanted to avoid that, then yeah, I'd use a proper cutting mat and scalpel or craft knife. But it's not super duper critical. You can always fix it up when you get to actually chiseling it all out. So you can see I transferred that. It's again a little rough, but that's fine, not a big deal. If you're pretty good at drawing and stuff, then you could always just go over it again, or use a Sharpie or something just to properly fix up anything, or if you want it to be slightly larger, like this is the time to make any fine-tuning adjustments before you start carving. Yeah, so for carving it, I did use I say kitchen knives here. I used the smallest kitchen knife I could, which was still massive, because if we just jump back a few slides, like the scale here, this entire line is 111 mil. I think these gaps here were like 5 mil or something, which kitchen knife scale, not particularly friendly. So you can see I've got to the right there my mini screwdriver kit, just for when I did start carving out the eyes and stuff, because kitchen knife is not going to capture those finer details. You can apparently use clay carving kits and stuff like that. Could not find any of those or any pumpkin carving kits in like $2 shops where I was at, but your results may vary. So yeah, I ended up chiseling out all the eyes with the screwdriver. I managed to get most of the mouth with the knife, and then I fixed up some of the edges with the screwdriver as well. And because this was only 25 mil deep in terms of before it, bottom out at the end there, I did have to use a kitchen knife to just basically make the walls thinner between the outside and inside of the pumpkin, so this could go all the way through to get out all of the material to have it be a bit nicer. So yeah, it took a lot of time, and as a part of that, I did actually end up doing this over 2 days. So just like glad wrap it or put it in a container, but it's a pumpkin, fairly large. And glad wrap, generally more accessible than a large container. And for doing the bone wings, which I will get to in a moment, yeah, make sure that you clean off all the meat and some of the cartilage end bits as well, and then just use dishwash liquid, and it shouldn't smell, at least if you keep it refrigerated. I'm not going to test not refrigerating it, but yeah. So I did partly look into the whole process of taxidermy, because might have needed it, but for this project I didn't. But if anyone's interested in taxidermy, at least 20% concentration hydrogen peroxide, and that generally I think gives the bones a whiter color or something like that as well. Or there might be one or two other steps, but you've got to be careful because some chemicals can strip out the calcium, which makes the bones really weak and isn't so great. So yeah, that's a whole aside for if anyone's interested in that. Anyway, for the bone wings. So yeah, I decided chicken wings were the easiest way to get a variety of bones. And as per Pillowdear, actual Pillowdear wings do not taste like chicken. Just clearing that up. Don't know who's tried them. Don't want to know who's tried them. Leave it at that. So yeah, I used aluminum wire, which I got from my sort of local hardware store, and linesman pliers. And then if you wanted, because you can get like copper wire and stuff like that, which is a little more expensive, but if you've got like thinner diameter wire, you can just like get a length, fold it in half, twist it together, kind of like what I did here with this main wire up here, and that way it'll be a lot more stiff. And for pretty much all of these, I think aside from this one, I started from the bottom, worked my way up to the top, but it actually makes it quite annoying because that way you'll then actually end up fighting gravity, whereas if you start from the top and work your way down, you're starting it with kind of like you're working with gravity to hold it into that position, more or less. So that's my general advice, and also you can avoid this excess length as well, which is quite nice. So yeah, start from the top, work your way down, and yeah, you don't have to join them together like this, but this was just easier at the time. And I did actually end up, when putting them into the pumpkin, actually untwisting it because it's quite difficult to put back in. And then I kind of like jammed them all in and then wrapped them around at the base, on the outside of the pumpkin. So, the stitches. Yes, I did actually stitch this pumpkin. It took maybe like an hour and a half, 2 hours or something like that, which was actually quicker than peeling off the skin with the screwdriver, which I just like very slowly chiseled away. It took maybe, I think the skin took maybe like 3 hours or something like that, because interestingly I did like chip away like paint, but like that was before I put it in the fridge. It did slightly change in behavior the following day, but it didn't make it take longer or anything. It was just behaving differently. Just another note there. So, stitches in the pumpkin. Basically, I started from the back, like putting the needle with the embroidery thread on the inside of the pumpkin, and then kind of guess where I wanted it to come out, stab it through, like slowly, wait till I could see the metal tip, and then work out if that was in the right position or not. If it was, great, push it all the way through. Otherwise, pull it back, adjust trajectory, try again. It's not too bad. It just took a while, but make sure that you give yourself a lot of length, because you're dealing with going through like an inch or so of material, so you actually end up going through quite a lot of length. But it should be easier if you're doing it on something like a watermelon, because you can get it to be much like thinner if you like carve out the flesh, which is also much easier with a watermelon compared to a pumpkin. Yeah. So the brains, which I put in front of the Zombiedear pumpkin, I made out of beetroot. So just caution when working with beetroot, their juices can easily stain stuff, so including hands, but you can wash your hands and it comes off with like a little bit of soap, not a big deal. But with clothing, a bit more of a hassle. So yeah, I just like diced them, peeled, diced, steamed. I was thinking maybe raw mince, but raw mince is like 20 something bucks or more in my country, which is ridiculous, but it is. And also, you might notice with a lot of this stuff, I was kind of using it to like meal prep, so I was just like, if I can eat this afterwards, saving money. There we go, pro tip right there. So, also steaming compared to using something like raw mince, hygiene-wise, much safer as well. So, eating like, I think I used 2 beetroot, but like the decent size, and the flavor gets a little bland after a while, or at least not exactly pleasant to keep eating, but it's alright. Just have it with other stuff as well. So I actually took this photo after I finished taking all of the photos for the competition, but basically yeah, so just like pre-poke your holes just to make it easier because your wire will probably bend. So I just use my mini screwdriver again to poke some holes part way through and then just force the wire the rest of the way through. And then you can just kind of spread out the wire against the walls, and generally they'll just stay in. And then I kind of wrap them back around to put them back into position. So yeah, for the lighting, I just grabbed a headlamp, but generally whatever you've got available, go for it. Phones, unless it's like a really small like Nokia or something like that, but you do want something with a decent light source. Yeah, just any LED source and cellophane, and you can customize it basically however you like. You can even use multiple different colors of cellophane wrap to change like the lighting even further. But I ended up using, because I brought both purple and red, I found that the purple actually looked a bit better, so that's what I ended up using for my pictures. And then camera settings, because I was taking pictures with my phone. You do want to get some lighting on the outside of your pumpkin, so you need it to be like not entirely pitch black, but just some passive lighting. So you'll notice that I've mentioned night mode here, and kind of important because I did notice when I was taking pictures, unfortunately I don't have great examples because I just deleted all of the night mode ones because they didn't look great. But try it yourself and I think you'll see what I mean. But basically the lights were less dynamic, I would say. Like if you had like more intense glow, that was just entirely removed and it was just way more flat, which didn't look great. So yeah, these are all the photos I had saved, but with Twitter you can only submit 4. So I've got my bed with towel on it because it was easy to take photos in my room, and I could also control the lighting because I've got a duvet covering the window back there, and I could get basically the dimmer lighting using my computer monitors to just give a gentle glow, which is quite nice. Yeah, so I think that covers most stuff. Yeah. Thank you everyone for voting for my pumpkin. I appreciate it. And maybe I'll do another one of these in the future. I don't know. See what happens. Bye.